my friend and colleague, Dr. J.D. Burnett. And J.D. is the artistic director of Orpheus Chamber Singers. And they are going to be our invited choir for Friday night's concert at the convention, the concert that's right before the worship service. So I'm here with J.D. On our campus, actually, at UT. And we're going to talk a little bit about Orpheus, and I'm going to ask J.D. just to tell us a little bit about the history.
Yeah. So next year is the 30th anniversary season of Orpheus Chamber Singers. Orpheus is the premier professional chamber choir in Dallas. I have been the artistic director for a little over 2 years. I followed Don Crable, who was the founding artistic director back in the 90s. And for that long, Orpheus has presented seasons to Dallas audiences, usually 4 or 5 programs a year over the course of a fall and spring season. This past year we did 3, next year we're probably going to do 5, so it's just sort of depends on the year, but next year's a big year for the organization being an anniversary year.
Yeah. Well, and we get an opportunity to hear Orpheus in San Antonio. Have you ever branched outside of Dallas before?
This will be my first time to lead the ensemble outside of Dallas. They have done a few things over the course of our history. Did a project that was a collaboration with Houston Chamber Choir, I don't know how many years ago now, and they've done a couple of other little things, but this year, this TCDA performance will be sort of the thing that kicks off our 30th anniversary year, and we will also be in Houston once during that year too. So I think one of the things that was interesting to me was to take this amazing chamber choir, this gem of an ensemble that's been for many, many years the pride of the city of Dallas, and expose our music making to other parts of the state and certainly the region. And these are 2 great ways, this San Antonio trip and then Houston in October, to accomplish that part of our mission.
That's wonderful. And this is a professional organization, and there are auditions every year. Do the singers audition for specific spots for a program that you're doing, or are they there, the core, and then they just sing everything that you
Yeah, so you're right. They are a fully professional chamber choir. Everybody in there is paid a fee to appear with Orpheus. Our projects usually run over the course of about 8 or 9 days, where we gather one weekend and give concerts the following weekend. So that all happens on a pretty compact schedule. And the way our roster works is a little bit different in the last 2 years compared to how it always was before. For many, many years, Orpheus established their roster of 24 singers in August, and that remained fairly consistent through the course of the season, and they rehearsed every Tuesday night and gave concerts several times a year. When I was hired, I still wasn't back full-time in Texas, so I was living in Georgia, and so it was sort of necessary that we shift that model to the more project-based model. So we don't rehearse weekly, we rehearse, as I said, in like kind of intense weeks. And the flexibility that has allowed us is that I can develop this deep master roster of singers who have auditioned for me and who I have determined to be capable of contributing in a meaningful way to the work of Orpheus. And then I use that master roster to populate project rosters. So usually we're about 24. I think that's what we'll be when we're in San Antonio for TCDA, 24 singers. But sometimes we've done stuff with 16, and very recently we did a big Rachmaninoff Vespers with 38 singers. So it kind of allows us the flexibility to shrink or enhance the size of the ensemble dependent on the project and the repertoire.
That's great. Do you have recordings at this point?
There are several recordings that have been made over the course of the time prior to my arrival. I haven't made any yet with the ensemble, but that too is in our strategic plan, and I'm hopeful that those can come to fruition in the next few years.
That's wonderful. Well, I know that our audience will be choral directors and students alike. And do you have any advice for anyone that might be interested in pursuing a career as a professional choral singer?
Yeah, and I feel like that's a great question that I get asked a lot because I conduct Orpheus and I also conduct another professional chamber choir in Atlanta called Canara. And so I have the opportunity to hire a lot of singers, and I kind of know what it's like because I came up through the ranks as a professional choral singer, myself. And I think, I'll start by just saying, as a conductor predominantly, the singing that I've done at the professional level has been probably every bit as important in the shaping of myself as a musician and an artist and a teacher and a conductor than my formal training was. It's just such an important part of my growing up as a musician, I think. And so anybody who has the kind of vocal chops and the musical skills to have that experience, especially if they're a teacher or a conductor, it enhances their own work so much. And so my advice is, to, of course, be in the best vocal shape you can be, learn how to sight read really well, and be an amazing colleague, and, start auditioning. And usually, you just kind of have to land a few gigs, and then your reputation grows, and people start recommending you to other conductors, other projects. So that's kind of the general guidance I offer when I'm asked that.
Great,
Yeah.
great. Well, hopefully you'll have some people after the concert come up to you and ask you questions about auditioning.
Yeah, I hope so.
Do you have any little sneak bits of what the program is going to be?
Yeah, I can tell you a couple things. I won't give it all away, but I'll tell you a couple things. There's a piece that Chanticleer commissioned by Ayanna Woods called Closer Now. She took this article from the LA Times and used the text of that as the basis for an erasure poem, and I had to remind myself what that was. Do you know?
No.
It's where you take like an existing, article or poem even, or a chapter of prose, and you erase words, and whatever remains, it becomes the text of the new poem. And so she did this with this LA Times article, and it was around right at the beginning of the pandemic. And so the article was basically saying, hey everybody, the theaters need to close down. And so she used that and erased some words. And the poem that remains isn't discreetly about COVID or anything like that, but it's a really neat piece that I'm looking forward to working on with Orpheus. That's one. We're also going to sing one of the Perry songs of farewell, which I have always loved that set. And we're trying to offer a really diverse program. These convention programs are sometimes hard to conceptualize, but one of the things that I love most about Orpheus is that they can sing a lot of different rep really, really well. And so we've got those two pieces, and then we've got kind of a lengthy movement from a mass by Prowlins. We're just going to do the Gloria, but it's in several parts. Yeah, so it'll be a mix of things, and I think that'll represent Orpheus really well.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we are so excited to have you a part of the convention, and especially with Orpheus coming out of Dallas and a little further south. We hope that you'll all plan on joining us on Friday evening before the worship service and enjoy this amazing chamber singers, Orpheus chamber singers under the direction of Dr. J.D. Burnett. What a joy for us and a privilege to have you all part of the convention.
Well, thank you
so much.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation. We're really looking forward to performing for our colleagues in San Antonio.
See you at the convention.